Hello everyone, Rabbi Abe here. So good to see all of you. We have just entered a new year. Yes, well, it's not exactly a new year because Kabbalistically, we have to understand this idea of a new year. It's not exactly right because this is the 7th month. We're in the month of Libra. So the Jewish, and I'm using that term loosely, the Jewish New Year is not, it's not a new year. It's the month of Libra, it's the 7th month. It is, however, the beginning of a new cosmic year. And therefore, the greetings that, typically Jews greet each other is Shana Tova, a good year, not Happy New Year. That's English, an English corruption, if you will. The number of the Hebrew year changes, and I want to explain that to you because that means a different cosmic force that is coming down that this year we should be aware of. Every year represents a different opening, a different energy that we can benefit from if we know what to do with it. So I'm just going to explain that, and it's not going to be too long. It's going to be brief, I hope, because this new year is a great opening. It's a huge opening for great awakening, and that's what's going on. So before we get into it, please like and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Remember, the greatest way to capture any spiritual light is to share. And you can do that by sharing wisdom, knowledge. If you get something out of the video, please share it with others. This is the way you intensify and amplify this light for yourself. Okay, now, the new cosmic year is 5785, 5785. Now that, according to the Kabbalah, this is not the year of not the age of the world. And I know there's a lot of misconceptions about this. The world is a lot older than that, okay? Billions of years, yes. But so what is this number? This number, it represents the time since Adam, meaning consciousness, the time of consciousness of free will, the potential for free will to change, transform, and do the spiritual work that we've all come here to this plane, if you will, to do. We're here not just to, kind of hang out. We're each here to grow and develop and to learn how to receive the Creator's light. The Creator wants to give us, wants to fulfill us with everything we need. However, and I know, listen, I read the comments. I try to read all the comments. It's not easy, but I try to do that. And, I read one comment that really stuck in my mind, and it pained me, honestly. Someone wrote that, why does the Creator even care? Because there's so much, pain and chaos and suffering in the world. And it was just kind of, unfortunately, depressing to read. And, listen, I can understand it because if I wasn't involved with Kabbalah for the past 35, 38 years, I would understand that comment better. I mean, I could understand it. The point is that you look around and you see, well, it's chaos and confusion, and it seems to be getting more and more and more for many of us. But this is a time of great light. You see, it's not up to the Creator. I mean, this is the misconception or the God misconception. God is not sitting there determining things on a day-to-day basis. I mean, He's not determining. I'm talking about the force of the Creator, is all embracing, is within everything. It is throughout everything. And if you've seen some of the videos, that I put out there, you understand it's not about us praying per se to God, that God should change things. That's not how things work, at least not according to the explanation of the Kabbalist. The force of the Creator, the godly force, is constantly, ever sharing beneficence of peace, tranquility, harmony, good, blessing, abundance, everything that we could possibly ever desire in this life, in this plane, on this plane, in this dimension. But then, of course, you need to ask the question, well, then why don't we have that? Why don't we see that blessing? Why don't we see all the blessings in our life? Why don't we see miracles every day? Some people do. The thing is, if you ask, well, if it's so true that God is giving all the time and endlessly, which according to Kabbalah he is, then why are we not receiving it? Why does God always, allow so much pain and suffering to go on in the world? Because you got to understand, the whole point of creation is that we, not the Creator, we wanted to enact the act of creation ourselves. We wanted to be godlike, meaning we were not satisfied from where our souls came from just to endlessly receive. We desire, the souls of humanity desire to be involved in the process of creation. And what is creation? Doesn't mean creation like, God, the idea of creating a world, but we do create. We create a business, we create a family, we can create happiness, we can create good in our lives and in the lives of other people, in our families' lives. We have that capability. Creative energy is why we're here, to enable creative energy, not destructive energy. And we don't realize that we can be destructive without knowing it. When we don't care enough for others, when we don't share our blessings with others, when we're depressed, when we allow ourselves to be sad and to fall into the lack that we believe we have, then that creates lack. It creates more problems. Because there are certain rules and principles to how this force of creator or godly force or blessings or miracles, there's certain principles, there are rules and principles. You got to learn those. If you don't know how the thing works, you can't operate the system. We can't pray to change God's mind. We are here to have free will. We are here, we're creatures of free will. We're not here to be robots, to be controlled. God doesn't control us. He provides everything, gave us all the tools. We wanted this. We desired this world, not the Creator. That's not how it works. We wanted this world to prove or to feel the partnership, if you will, with the Creator. When it says, let us make man in our image in Genesis, it doesn't mean that, it means that we're given creative powers, that we can bring good, we can bring harmony, we can bring peace. But there are requirements. We have to be willing to put our energy in. Sometimes we have to be willing to risk. Sometimes we have to be willing to work beyond what we think we're capable of. Because we are here to be creative forces, not destructive forces. If we are destructive in any way, we are canceling out the light in our life. In that place, we are creating a vacuum. When we are creative, we are creating an opening and what we call a vessel for the Creator's light to come in. Again, as I say, there are principles, there are rules. It's not just, you pray and sometimes God answers your prayers and sometimes He doesn't. It doesn't work that way. When we understand the principle of prayer, when we understand the principle of creation, when we understand, and this is what Kabbalah teaches, then blessings should be showered upon us and upon the world. But we have to be in that place. So what does this year have to offer us that different from last year? Well, again, it is within the acronym of the number of the year. As I said, of 5,785 years since the time of Adam, meaning free will and consciousness, the ability to transform, change, and grow. That's what Adam represents. The age of what we call the tikkun, the karmic correction, then this this year is the two final numbers, which is 85. 85. In Hebrew, we know the letters are numbers and have a numerical value. We call that gematria or numerology. And that is the word peh. Actually, it's a word. It's 85, 5,785. 85 is the word peh, or po. In Hebrew, it's two things. It's the mouth. Peh means mouth. Po means here. Here, I'm here. Well, what does this have to do with the year? What does this have to do with the energy of the year? What can we be looking forward to? No, it's telling us the secret of this year is to be present. Present. You know, there's a rule, according to the Kabbalists in the teachings of the 10 luminous emanations. Rav Ashlag brings a principle that there is no partial in spirituality. Now, what does that mean? No partial in spirituality. That means energy is or it isn't. In other words, however much you have to give, you need to be willing to give 100% of what you have to give. And if you're not giving it all. In fact, you might be taking away. I'll give you an example. What does that mean? Let's say you're at your place of work or business, and you're not sure you really want to be there, and so you're kind of there, you're kind of not there. You're not 100% present. You don't give it all your energy. You will never be able to fully benefit from that work, job, or business. In fact, if it's your business, it can't be successful. If you're not there 100%, and we can understand that, there's no way you can be successful. If you went to visit your grandmother and you don't want to go, you didn't want to go, but you showed up because you feel guilty. All right? You feel guilty. You don't want to be there. Guess what? Are you there? When you go, you're going to go and say, hi, grandma, whatever. Is she going to feel your presence? The answer is no, because you're not there. You have to remember, our consciousness is connected to our soul, our spirit, our energy. That's us. That's who we are. We are not our body. We are the energy within us. We call that a soul, our presence. And so when our consciousness and our desire is not to be there, then we're not there. Our body is there. You know, let's say, and I know I get stories from people, they maybe grew up in a household where one of the parents wasn't there, or they were there. You know, I had someone told me, a few years ago, I grew up with a father who was there, but he was never present. He wasn't there for me. What does that mean? His body was there. Now, think about this for a second. Had that father maybe been away working and, doing stuff and so on and so forth, might even be better. If he wasn't physically present, at least he has a good excuse. He's not there, and he's not there. He's not there in body, and he's not there in spirit. But if he's there in body and not in spirit or energy, consciousness, intention, it might even be worse. Because what's your excuse? Right? Why are you not here for me? So we understand presence is extremely important. Manifesting presence. That's what this year is about. Manifesting our presence in what we're doing, in where we are in life, and in the world. Because it's about being present. In order to be present, you also have to be aware. You have to come to an awareness. Awareness where you are. Awareness what you're doing. Awareness why you're doing it. And being awake. Awake about it. We can be walking through life, walking through the world, and we might be sleepwalking. We're not even aware of what's going on. It is our personal responsibility, especially today, to do our research about things, not to take anything for granted, not to take any information for granted. Don't be a robot. Robot is not there. A robot is not aware. A robot can't change their life. A robot can't change their status in life. A robot has no free will. Are we a robot? Well, unfortunately, we agree to be a robot a lot of the time. We go through our life, we go to our work, or we go to our business, or we go to our relationship. We go through it like a robot. And how great is that? How much energy, how much light, how much benefit, how many miracles can a robot have? Stop being a robot. What? I mean, if you are. So we have to admit, where are we a robot? Because when you're a robot, you are not present. That's what it means here. To be here. Agree to be here. Agree to be present. Agree to take the responsibility. If you're here, then you have some responsibilities, whatever they are. Spiritual responsibilities, physical responsibilities, whatever it is. However that relates to you in your life, that's what's going to bring you abundance this year. That's what's going to bring you light, energy, miracles. And it's also the mouth, we said. It's not only here, but it also means peh, which is mouth. What is the power of the mouth? To manifest things. When we say something, we can create change by what we say, or sometimes what we don't say, especially when it comes to speaking negatively, speaking in a destructive way. Again, our words create presence, create energy, create things. It says that the Creator spoke and things came into being by the word, by His word. Well, what does that mean? Well, if we're a creator, we also have the same power, and we do. How powerful is the mouth when it speaks truth? How evil is it when it speaks lies? That's the power that we're given. The power to create or the power to destroy is also within the mouth. So these two principles of being here and taking responsibility for my presence and taking responsibility for my words are very much connected energetically. Because, again, when we agree to speak negatively, even if it's true, about a person, we are creating destructive forces, even destructive angels. You'll refer to my angel class if you don't understand what that means. But every word we speak creates forces, creates angels, good or bad, depending on our words. If we speak words of blessing, if we even bless people who, are more fortunate than we might be, and we look at them, maybe we have a little envy. No. What should you do? Stop it. Stop right away and say, no, you know what? I bless them. I bless them to have more blessings. The more you bless others, the more you will receive. That's the way it works. Remember, there's a sharing concept. When we share energy, it says the prayers of a poor person are answered first. Where the prayers of a poor? I mean, there are many people who are poor, and I'm sure they might be praying. How come they're not receiving? Because it doesn't mean a physically poor person. It means an individual who decides to pray as a poor person, meaning poor of his own desire. Meaning he doesn't pray for himself. He prays on behalf of other people. He prays for the benefit of the world. He prays for the sustenance of people who don't have. He prays for the health of those who don't have. That person, those things, that abundance, that health, that whatever, needs to pass through the vehicle, the channel, who initiated this connection. So if you pray for others, well, for better or for worse, it has to pass through you first. Of course, for the better, right? Because that's just the way it works. Because the universe and the Creator want to give us the motivation. Because sometimes we need some spiritual motivation and inspiration. To give us the inspiration, you know what? It's not about ourselves alone. It's about helping others with whatever they need. And the reward for that, and I'm not saying that we should do it for this reason, it just happens to be the fact of life. The reward or the benefit of that is enabling other people to receive. that means you receive, right? That's the way the universe is built, on this concept of sharing. That's why charity, that's why tithing, that's why helping others and doing service. These are all necessary things to activate the creative force. The creative force is built on this principle of sharing, because the creator is a sharing force. Only there's no receiving in the creator. And so, the principle in Kabbalah is the more we achieve a similarity with the creator's force, the more we become part of that light and the more beneficence is showered upon us. Because if you think about it for a moment, think about it just for one moment. If you were God and you have a choice, okay, to give someone who's sharing with others who need help and, really making the effort to help others, or someone who's just thinking about themselves, who would you give to? Who would you bring more miracles? Who would you bring more beneficence to? I mean, I think the answer is obvious. The one who is helping others. Because that's our job. Our job. The job of God is just to provide. Look at God, and I don't mean to be, it's just an analogy, okay? God is the electricity behind every good in our world. But there's one thing the electricity never does. It doesn't turn himself on. That's why we're here. We are here to turn on the Creator's force. And we do that by sharing with others, by being present, as we said. Presence this year. This year, it's all about that presence, by speaking words of blessing, of good, helping others, taking responsibility for where we are, our existence. Never to be a victim. We're not a victim. We're not here as a victim until we agree to be a victim. And you know what? I'll tell you what the real blessing of victims are. You'll be right. And that's about it. But you'll stay a victim. Unfortunately. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be cold. But that's the only benefit of agreeing to be a victim, is you'll be right and you'll have someone else to blame always. But you will never be able to change your status. Why? Because imagine if you take responsibility for where you are. You may not understand it. That makes no difference. We have past lifetimes. We have karma. We're not born into this world innocent. We have a past to deal with. We have to understand that. Whether we get it or not, the moment you begin to take responsibility, look what happens. You get control. Because when you say I'm responsible, I'm responsible. Not it's my fault. It's my responsibility. And I can change it. I can help myself and I can help others. Even the person who is in the most lack can always still even share a smile with other people, a good word. And that can kickstart them and inspire them to move forward. That's what this year is about. This year, again, being present, using our mouth for blessing, for words of blessing, words of prayer, creating anything that smells like destruction, which means it's tearing something down, it's bringing something down in physical action or in words. No. In fact, I don't want to scare you, okay? I don't mean to freak anybody out. But those things this year will have more of a detrimental effect, a negative effect, a negative impact. And in the same way, presence, being present, waking ourselves up, taking responsibility, those things will bring more positivity than they have done in the past, because the energy this year is going to be so much more intense. Intense, remember, it's a double-edged sword. We want it for the benefit and the blessing. That's what the Creator wants to give us. And we should all benefit this year from the intense and endless blessing which will be available to all of us in this year of 5785. Be blessed, guys, and I'll see you soon on the next video. All the best.